Howdy, Smite fans, J-Mac here. Week number 6 of the SMITEPro League is all wrapped up. We had some really big matchups happen this week. Some big 2-1s, some big 2-0s, and all of it still leading up towards the Phase 3 playoffs. Let's take a look back what happened in this week's episode of the SPL Weekly Recap. Now, we had 10 sets of Smite to go through, so we're going to be kind of rapid firing this a little bit faster than usual. First of these was the Jade Dragons and the Atlantis Leviathans. This set went the distance. A low kill, long-winded game 1 win for the Leviathans, a bloodier and slightly shorter game 2 for the Dragons, and then a game 3 and even shorter but more commanding game for the Leviathans ends up netting the Levi's a 2-1 win over the Dragons. Well, next up, we had the Tartarus Titans against the Solar Scarabs. This set was the inverse, where it started with a fast and dominant Titans win in game number 1, a slower, more methodical win for the Solar Scarabs in game number 2, and then game number 3, the kills poured in, but at the end of the day, it's the Tartarus Titans who bring home the win with a 2-1 over the Scarabs. Day number 2 kicked off with the Oni Warriors against the Valhalla Valkyries. This set was won by the carries of the Warriors, but set up by Neil and Nika paved the way for the Oni Warriors to dominate this set, taking a 2-0 over the Valhalla Valkyries. Our second set was the Olympus Bolts against the Camelot Kings. This set felt like whoever won early lost the late game, as in all 3 games this rang true. The Bolts took game 2, but games number 1 and 3 were won by the Camelot Kings and allowed the Kings to take the set 2-1. Saturday's triple header started with the Atlantis Leviathans and Solar Scarabs. The Scarabs looked great in games 1 and 2, despite the Leviathans winning the first of those. However, the Scarabs couldn't hold out, and in game number 3, it went to the Atlantis Leviathans, who took the set 2-1. And following that set was the Tartarus Titans against the Valhalla Valkyries. The Valks looked good early, but Layers and Stewart stepped up big for the Tartarus Titans. Layers finally had a convincing performance, and Stewart, undeterred all set long, netted the Titans a 2-0 victory. And our last set of Saturday was the Jade Dragons against the Oni Warriors. Game 1 was a close battle, back and forth at most points of the game, but the Dragons squeaking it out at the end. Game number 2 was anything but close, as the Dragons decimated the Oni Warriors for a 2-0 victory. Well, it's the final day of the weekend, and another triple header. And to start things out, it was the Olympus Bolts and the Atlantis Leviathans. 55 minutes. These two titans of teams duked it out for game number 1, but when the dust settled, it was the Atlantis Leviathans on top. Game number 2 was a much more decisive victory for the Levi's, and it's the Atlantis Leviathans who take home the set. Next up was the Camelot Kings against the Solar Scarabs. The best efforts of the Scarabs just couldn't match up to the team fight of the Camelot Kings in game number 1. And game 2 was the roaming death ball of the Camelot Kings that are able to win out the set 2-0 over the Scarabs. And our final match of week 6 of the regular season was the Jade Dragons and the Tartarus Titans. In the words of the Jade Dragons themselves, the set went as follows. Game 1, solo diff, goes to the Dragons. Game number 2, Hagon trolling his brains out, goes to the Tartarus Titans. Game number 3 was the Sprack Chasm. Jade Dragons took the set 2-1 over the Tartarus Titans. And there you have it. With week number 6 done, there is now only one more week of regular season play, not just for Phase 3, but for the rest of Season 9 of the SMITEPro League. From here on out, after week 7 is done, it is only playoffs and play-ins until the Smite World Championship in January. For week number 6, the Atlantis Leviathans have clinched the number 1 seed for themselves, and everybody else still fighting for those remaining 5 spots. I'm keeping my eyes specifically down at the very bottom when the Olympus Bolts and the Valhalla Valkyries try and duke it out for that 6th seed position. Make sure you catch back up on everything that happened in week number 6 by going over to our YouTube channel, Smite VOD, watch the behind-the-scenes action for over on SMITEPro, and tune in live right now as we kick off week 7 of the SMITEPro League.